time after. Chris was there, I think, because we were beating them bad, and they just came back. It was an incredible night. But Chris Street was, I said, I still look at the plaque every time I go there, because he stands for everything that's right about college basketball. It's hard for me to believe it's been 20 years, but I hope they do it up right for him there. I know John, I know the trainer there will be very instrumental in it. That's a guy you don't want to forget. That's what I think of Chris.
What was, when you think back to that game, how difficult was it just to prepare mentally for that, knowing that you had an opponent coming in that was dealing with such a tragedy?
I think that was a very hard game for all teams and all players. You know, we put on a big fundraiser that night. We had a guy, an alum, that really raised a lot of money for them, you know, so you're competing against them and you're pulling for them. Very difficult night, to be very honest with you. I think for both parties. Tom Davis handled it well. I thought Jed did. It was a tough night. I thought our fans did.
What's it going to be like to go over to Germany to play?
Since I've never done it, and no college basketball team has ever done it, I can't answer you.
But you played on the aircraft carrier last year. It's going to be on an Air Force base this year. It's not going to be on.
Well, the part that's going to be great is sharing opening day with your military. You know, that's going to be phenomenal. On an air base, you know, I haven't even seen what the thing looks like yet. At least the aircraft carrier, I saw drafts of the picture. I don't know what we're getting in for, so I don't know. The time change being 6 hours is going to be more. It's going to be difficult, but the opportunity to be with our military guys. I've been such a fan since I went to Kuwait. Whatever happens, it's going to be worthwhile.
Tommy,
what was the? Sorry, you talked about the aircraft carrier, and since the United States got that ahead of them in a few weeks, what was the biggest concern you had playing outdoors?
Well, I thought that we were going to be shooting on a wavy sea, and I saw that boat. I said, if Hurricane Katrina comes, we might have a chance to blow it a little bit. But I mean, it was such an incredible. You know, I was worried about the wind.
Yeah.
But there was nothing. Maybe it was the right day, but I think they also had it pretty well screened in behind the bleachers.
Okay.
I think the only issue I had was the lights maybe a little low. But to be honest with you, there were no excuses. It was a great setting. You know, we shot well in practice. We didn't shoot well in the game because of North Carolina, not because of us. So I enjoyed it. I thought it was great. And I wouldn't sit there and worry about, you know, am I going to really fall off the boat? You know, I mean, towards the end of that game, I wanted to jump off the boat, but the players aren't going to fall off, and there's going to be nothing like that. It's just a great. You're going to love it.
Amir Williams is scared because he doesn't like large bodies of water, and I think he's afraid of running off. It's like Minnesota, where you run off the end of the court. You know, he thinks he's going to fall in the ocean if he runs off the end of the court.
Tell Amir then I'm going to put water all around our court when we play. No, you know, it's so big. It's so big, you don't even... You could play a football game on that thing.
Nick said the same thing last year before.
Yeah.
I don't want to fall off.
Yeah. Now, the one scary part is when we went up that elevator that brought the planes up, you were kind of close to the water, but the water's right there. America's Cup had its sailboats practicing. I mean, it's just unbelievable.
What were the locker rooms like?
They were trailers, so it was like Division II for me. It's like where Mariucci and I used to live.
Tom, I was talking to AP earlier. He was talking about his goofiness and being the funny guy. How much you love that about him, yet at the same time maybe it drives you nuts?
Oh, it drove me nuts. Yeah. But now he's a lot more mature.
That's what you're saying. He's learning when to...
Yeah, he's a lot better now. But, I mean, it was never bad. It was just bad that when it would happen in the middle of a huddle, you know?
Yeah. Well, that's what I
when we were down 10.
He's talking about learning when to, you know, lighten the mood and when not to, and just kind of growing up.
And I don't think he was really thinking about lightening the mood then. I think that was nervous immaturity, you know? But he's grown a lot in that area. He's able to take criticism now. He couldn't take it. He's able to handle success now. He couldn't handle it. he's really grown. I think you would admit, looking at him as a player, interviewing him, he's grown a lot. Still got a ways to go, but he's made a great progress.
How much does that coincide? I mean, when you talk to him now, even from last year, it's very different. How much does that coincide from a time standpoint with his maturity, on the court and with you and your program as a person?
How much is it? I'm sorry.
When you look at just since last January, when you talk to him, very different than it is now when you talk to him from a media standpoint.
Well, I think some of it is confidence. Confidence comes in a lot of different ways. You're either playing better or you're feeling better. I think he's stronger. He's more confident in his body. He just feels better about himself. Being 15 pounds heavier of all muscle. I think that's part of it. I think he worked on his game harder. So, as I use the analogy of studying for a test, if you don't study, you don't go in as confident as if you do study. I think he studied for his test a little bit better than he did before. And I think he realizes that everybody is here to help him. And I think that was hard for him because he didn't have a lot of people in his life. He didn't have mom raising him. And then they had grandma, and then she left. She died. And so there's reasons kids are like they are. And that's what's hard. Sometimes everybody doesn't know those things. But, we love him. He's got, like I said, incredible high school coaches that really stay up with him. And they've been a major help. And the kid's a talented kid that I think will be playing basketball beyond college. It's just that the process has been a little slower.
When his grandmother died, in some ways maybe that is almost forces a kid to grow up some, but how much, you talk about knowing that you guys are there for him, how much do you think that meant to him when you guys all showed up for that funeral? And that
I didn't think anything of it then, because I just thought we got to go down and support Adrian. But when his coaches and everybody told me how important it was to him, I don't picture him thinking that's important because he's not a deep thinker, But I think it did matter to him, and I think it was great, and I think the way our players handled it. And we brought him back with us that day too, He actually came back with us, and that was good.
Coach, a lot of talk has surrounded Cody Zeller. Just talk about a couple of the problems that he presents when you're going game plan against IU this year.
He's 7 damn feet. That's what he presents. That's what he's come from a family that has done it. He's played against his brothers and says Tom Crean deserves a lot of credit. He has done a great job in taking that kid. I think he's the toughest of the three of them. I think I hear he works awfully hard. I'm not saying the others didn't, but I'm just saying I think Tom has added his own touch onto him too. They've been a good pair. He needed a star to come to a state like I needed to Team Cleves. They're joined at the hip. I think that's important. And yet, when you're as good a free throw shooter as he is, and you're not afraid to post up, and you can step out a little bit, you've kind of got all things covered. Now it's just a matter of getting better at each one of them. And he has done that.
Coach, a year ago you hired